Hi everybody, I'm psychic medium Lisa Paron, and in this video I would just like to tell you about some of the accurate psychic predictions I've made in 2017 that came true, actually since 2014. For your entertainment, I present accurate psychic predictions I have made. In 2014, I predicted that Kate Middleton would give birth to a boy. In 2015, I predicted that Kate Middleton would give birth to a girl and part of her name would be Diana. I also predicted Justin Trudeau to become Prime Minister of Canada and the Kansas City Royals to win the World Series. Leonardo DiCaprio to win Best Actor for the Academy Awards. The Pittsburgh Penguins to win the 2016 Stanley Cup. Controversy with Russia and the Pussy Power movement, because I had predicted and still do a lot of negative energy pointing to an angry-fueled inauguration day for Donald Trump, which happened, that will set the tone for not only the year, but the rest of his entire term. As a result of Donald Trump being elected the 45th President of the United States, thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, protests across 25 American cities and many cities around the world. Donald Trump's inauguration, I predicted, started a new wave of outbursts, friction, angry reactions, protests, and a division in the United States. There were protests in Portland, Los Angeles, and numerous other places around the world. I accurately predicted many of the incidents and events that happened surrounding the presidential race and the debates. In June of 2017, I predicted there would be delays for traveling and there could be numerous water problems or floods of liquids and such. And we did have a record rainfall in the United States with numerous disasters and heavy rains. Then in July, I predicted on a global scale, due to the extreme nature of the planetary weather, there was a window of opportunity that may bring the following into the news. I said that you may hear about extreme weather, fire, violence, or explosions, as well as another possible cyber attack, terrorist attack, or act of extreme aggression. This is because Mars and Pluto were at odds, and this is volatile and intense energy that can stimulate aggression, delays to events and situations around you. And it was manifesting upsetting emotions, bringing tears and overreactions. And I predicted there would be a possibility of way too much water or liquid, such as a flood or water-related incident. I also suggested around this time, July, the second last week of July, that if you were having sketchy pipes in your house, the water in your house, they might finally give up the ghost around that time. Did you have your pipes burst around July 2017? Comment in the comments if you did. Tell me about it. It'd be very interesting. I also said watching the news for water-related severe weather spills, flood disasters, such as open water, like the ocean or sea. And in the United States, there was West Coast, California, New Mexico. New Mexico had a major heat wave and wildfires. Texas, Houston, Texas had massive floods. There was severe weather in Pennsylvania, South Asian floods in Europe, and a strong earthquake in Turkey and Greece. Then in August, there were 2 eclipses. So eclipses can activate things into the future as well as around the time of the actual celestial event. Now, last August 2017, I said around this time, we may hear news involving protests, uprisings, humanitarian groups, the LGBT community, new technology and scientific achievement or space discovery. And there was also likely going to be a surge in powerful and intense weather globally with shakeups, tornadoes, hurricanes, and electricity-related storms. So we basically kicked up the weather a notch when the eclipses came to be and beyond. And that started off with some protests at Berkeley and free speech protest in Boston and Phoenix as well. Then we had female protesters bullied and threatened on social media, women in Morocco. And then there was another eclipse. It was a solar eclipse. And this particular one was very strong, and it was because the mega energy between the solar eclipse and the star Regulus can sometimes be too much, and leaders or kings may experience a loss of power. Well, those planets activating Mars were the moon, and that's people's emotions, and that was making for delays surrounding the eclipse and quite an emotional shakeup, upsetting circumstances for some people. Mars represents men, aggressiveness, anger, police, military personnel, armies, and acts of war. Mars was being supercharged by the sun, the moon, and the North Node, which is also the dragon's head, or Rahu in Hindu astrology, with the fixed star Regulus. This was a mega storm of very powerful celestial bodies all together at once. Due to those aspects, I predicted that the countries of the United States, United Kingdom, and North Korea would be featured in the news. And I saw a possibility of the crown being passed to another in the royal family of England. Also that a naughty secret may have been revealed about a member of the royal family, a VIP, famous person, a celebrity with a regal quality to them. Solar eclipses, the effects of it can be felt months prior to and sometimes up to a year or more following the event. It's not necessarily everything happens on the exact day of the eclipse. It doesn't quite work like that. It's like karma, it catches up. If you've been good, you shine in the world's eyes. If you haven't been good, karma comes and kicks you in the butt. So one person's horoscope that was really closely activated with the Great American Eclipse was American President Donald Trump. Now, it's difficult to be exact with his predictions because nobody has his birth time and it's in question. So based on my birth time that I did for him, let's assume that these predictions were correct. And I believe they have, because once you hear them, you'll know I was right. There's been so many things happen with Donald Trump. He's been very busy. And I chose him as an example, not because I have a personal vendetta against him. It's just that he's a very well-known, famous person, and he's an American with planets that were being activated exactly smack dab right on the nose by this eclipse. Very, very close. So he was the best and most extreme example of a famous person I could find. And it makes it more interesting for you guys if it's somebody that is well known. So this group of planets that I mentioned earlier grouped with the eclipse and was directly touching Mr. Trump's 12th house, first house ascendant, and his personal Mars too. This means that around that time and beyond, he was attracting a high level of negative publicity that I believed at the time was of an international scale, and he himself would be very, very aggressive and combative, even more so than usual that he has displayed in the past. This was a red flag that Donald was going to attract a lot of aggressive energy around him, and he should be very careful not to venture into dangerous locations or situations that put himself in harm's way. There could be hidden enemies revealing themselves that he should take care also with firearms, weapons, and particularly guns. He's been involved a lot in the NRA. The eclipse also activated Donald Trump's 12th house of secrets, behind the scenes matters, and hidden enemies, as well as his 12th house ascendant. It fell right between his natal Mars and asteroid Regulus, within a 1-degree orb. That's very, very close. He was very tense, and the eclipse with the Mars was indicating anger issues, shows of aggression and strength, and wanting to go to battle. The earlier eclipse in August was also in opposition to Mr. Trump's part of fortune, which is a karmic tie with one's destiny as well. I believed at the time that he would take a stand, or with North Korea, as they would likely be demonstrating a strong military presence. And that came true. When Donald Trump started to threaten North Korea with dropping a nuclear bomb, and dropped a bomb near a jet dropped a bomb near North Korea after Donald Trump went after Kim Jong-un. And then there was a reaction over bigotry in Charlottesville. I said in 2017 that it was interesting to note that the path of the eclipse follows almost exactly as it did back in 1865, when the eclipse divided the USA in half. I believed at the time it was very possible the people of the United States would again be very divided on a situation. I advised to watch the news for demonstrations, protests, anger, shows of force, riots, and violence. I also suggested there would be an increase in severe weather throughout the month of August, especially around the two eclipses, a strong possibility of more water-related incidents, and in particular the water-related events or tragedies. It was a time of secrets revealed, hackers, world leaders changing or having a fall from grace, as well as the passing of a world leader, famous celebrity, or someone of royalty. In a way, the USA was even more divided after severe weather and hurricane damage at the end of August and the beginning of September. As well, many of the island nations of the Caribbean suffered with great loss from Hurricane Irma, Hurricane Harvey, lots of damage through the Caribbean. And Prince Philip announced he would retire and did his last solo public engagement with the Royal Marines Parade. The King of Comedy, Jerry Lewis, passed away. More severe weather with Texas floods, terror attacks in Barcelona, Spain, with a van attack, another terrorist attack in Finland, and in the Middle East in Israel. And then in September, UFO sightings were heightened during the moon in Aquarius and the first week of September. There was a mysterious blue and green light seen flashing in the sky as the Mexico earthquake hit. There's a Kodak moment and sent UFO hunters into a frenzy. And in Canada, there was a big fireball on September 4th over British Columbia. And I had predicted in my weekly stars at the time confusion and chaos in the media. So don't be surprised if there was a lot of crazy stories on the news for a few days before or after the event, where the sun went into opposition to Neptune. And one of the headlines I saw on the Canadian news, the CBC, was a Canadian man's photo was used for fake news to spread hatred to Islamic people and people of the Middle East. I had predicted at the time people in general would have an increased physical energy, courage, and would be, have a very strong sense of adventure at that time. This was when people would be doing unusual acts, and they're courageous acts that you just look and shake your head. And when you're watching the video and of someone walking from one building to another on a tightrope, for instance, this makes people do exciting and crazy things just on a dare. And in the news came, a surfer dies riding Hurricane Irma. Professional surfer, only 16 years old, was riding a huge wave in Hurricane Irma and passed away in Barbados. Then there was NFL player protests over the national anthem, and more protests with NASCAR with Donald Trump. Then in October, I made a prediction that globally, with the combination of wonky energies from Uranus, Jupiter, asteroids Lilith and Chiron, added up to a powerful mixture of planetary influence, and it opened up a window of higher potential for protests, violent standoffs, conflict, explosions, internet hacks, and terrorist activity. I foretold to watch the world news for stories that were also about severe weather, electrical storms, tornadoes, electrical outages, severe winds, and hurricanes. Also more stories that people would notice about things that fly through the air travel, planes, or missiles, as well as space travel related stories. Air travel would be delayed on a large scale from a computer malfunction or glitch, and I said that the energy would be in effect for several days before and after October 1st. Then we had the USA flying bombers over the Korean peninsula as a show of force, as I had predicted back in August. Secrets revealed, powerful men fall from grace, and we had shit hit the fan with Harvey Weinstein. Ugh. Harvey Weinstein stories of him paying off accusers for almost 30 years, and how Hollywood hero went to zero in 4 days. There has been numerous women claim to have been sexually molested and attacked by Harvey Weinstein, even raped. Karma's coming for him. There'll be more on Harvey Weinstein later with his own little video. USA. Of all the predictions I ever made about the USA, this one gave me chills, and that was the worst mass shooting in US history in Las Vegas. Another prediction came true in England with Monarch Airlines stranding thousands of passengers. Another prediction that I made that gave me chills was the Edmonton terrorist attack in Canada. There were protests in the United Kingdom, in Ireland, over an abortion ban. In Europe, hundreds were injured with the Spanish police over the referendum. In China, tens of thousands were protesting in Hong Kong. And there was things about news about things that fly through the air or air-related injury, and that was more taxes for Bombardier. Business Bombardier was selling jets to the USA. Marilyn Manson was struck in the head by a piece of stage that fell, a falling prop, and a plane engine exploded. Then there were more protests in Canada. President Trump was becoming very unpopular also with Americans. On Saturday Night Live, Jay-Z talked about Donald Trump in Puerto Rico. I will do my best to make more videos and more predictions for 2018. I have 2 videos posted up on YouTube that you can see that are regarding 2018 psychic predictions for the first part of the year till May, beginning of May anyway, and one for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. So until next time, have a great day. And if you'd like me to predict your future, visit my websites on the links below, and I'll do my best to help you too. Come see me at astromojo.com or psychiclisaparon.com. Take care and be kind to each other.